What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Silksong Cast. This is Silksong, your host, talking today all about Silksong. How's everyone doing? This is Josh. Hey, Steve.
Hey, man.
I have a problem.
It's going pretty good. I'll be honest. I've played almost no Silksong, but I have played something else. But I don't want to get into it. It's before my game, but after I introduce two hunks, starting with Seth. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I've also been playing a lot of Silksong. I did take a minor detour to play some other gameage for this episode, but it's pretty much just Silksong all the time over here too. But I will, I suppose, lead us right into then introducing the special guest host for today, Mr. Rob Ring, King Octavius. I'm not sure what you want to go by.
Anything is fine. It seems like the default on Polykill has kind of gone to Rob. Seems like it, so maybe that. But I'm good with whatever. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Going great.
It's going great.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm super. I feel like I cheated my way onto the podcast because Josh in the Discord asked one day, "Who do you guys want to see on? Like, who would you like to see on IndieQuest? You can say yourself if you want." I just instantly wrote myself, and he was like, "Okay, we could do that. Like, we may." and then I was like, "Oh, I kind of feel bad now." Like, not bad. But I was like, "Oh, I didn't really earn that, did I? I just said it."
We have a running list, Rob, and I wish that it could be dated because we put your name on that list before you said that you wanted to come on. So you were already on our list. So it was just a coincidence, I suppose, that you said that you wanted to come on.
Well, that's
you check
very flattering.
A lot of boxes for us.
Yeah.
You've got one. I mean, the audio version that goes with this doesn't have this, but we record it with cameras on. Dashingly handsome, so that helps. And then also, you're an experienced podcaster, so we don't have to get you caught up to speed. You know the deal. So
I guess so.
Tell people what you do.
Well, I do two things that people are probably potentially interested in. The one I've been doing the longest is the Classic Gaming Podcast, as I know you guys know. We are on our 11th year of that. It seems crazy. But it's exactly what it sounds like. We talk about old games, old being anything up through 2006 is kind of our soft cutoff. Like every once in a while, well, there's like another game, 2008 or so that we just really want to talk about. We don't really stick too hard to it, but 99% of what we talk about is 2006 or earlier. In fact, it used to be 2005. And when we first started the podcast, of course, that was like 2014. So I was like, probably, I'm sure in 10 years, we'll probably kick it up like 10 years. But then 10 years later, stuff past 2005 still didn't seem anything past that still didn't seem retro or classic to me. So I was like, well, we can knock it up 1 year. We'll go to 2006, but that's all I'm willing to budge on this right now.
Yeah. So you move it up to like 2010 or something, you get into this weird position where it's like, well, we can talk about Mass Effect 2, but we can't talk about Mass Effect 3 because that's too new of a game.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
Me and my co-host Jay have been doing that for a long time. And then my newest project, which just hit its 1 year anniversary, is Boxography. That's a YouTube channel, not a podcast, and that's where I'm a complete in-box collector of classic games. And I kind of ended up with this big collection with a lot of cool stuff in it that I kind of just wanted to show people. I felt like I was kind of hoarding it all to myself. It's like, I'm the only one who gets to look at these. But I wanted other people to kind of see these, and like I wanted to, have like an outlet to talk about them and stuff. So Boxography is a YouTube channel where I show complete in-box games that have something particularly cool about them. Like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, for instance, came with a World Almanac, which is awesome. Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. It comes with a manual that's just filled with baseball history. What else? Wing Commander. It comes with like an in-world magazine just for people who live in the Wing Commander universe. And it's also got blueprints of spaceships and stuff like that. Final Fantasy 1 comes with a giant fold-out poster with sprites of every single enemy in the game that just looks awesome. Just, I've got so much stuff like that that I just wanted to kind of like show people, like, look at all this awesome stuff. So that's what Boxography is. I post a video there every 2 weeks. And like I said, just hit the old 1 year mark on that guy. So I'm having lots of fun with that.
Question for you about Boxography.
Yes.
How long do you think you can go with your current inventory? How long do you think you can go without needing to acquire more? Like, do you have lots of stuff?
That's a great question. And that's something that I've tried to be very kind of aware of. So first off, without acquiring more stuff is not really maybe the best metric, because I'm always acquiring more stuff regardless.
Yeah.
But I think what you mean, like, basically if I stopped right now, how far I could go. I actually kind of did the math on that earlier in the year. And at that point I could go like a little bit more than a year just based on what I had. I felt like I had a year's worth of, stuff worth talking about. And of course I've gotten more things since then. Right now, I think it's probably a little bit under that. Like, I don't think I've kept up, keeping the full year buffer there. It's probably 7 or 8 months, I would say I could go from right now, but I'm planning on continuing to acquire goods. So that way I can kind of, mostly because I just love this stuff. But, when I do add things to my collection, there is a part of my brain that's like, all right. Have I gone a while, like, getting things that I can't talk about? Because if so, maybe I should get a few things that I can, so that I can keep this thing going. I don't have to have like a weird awkward break where it's going to be like a month of me finding things, ordering them, getting them in, making the video, like falling behind and that kind of stuff.
Right. I personally kind of love it. And I think the collector in all of us loves it because it gives you that extra little push to add more to your collection beyond the look at my shelf. It's pretty, right? Like, that's the majority of us that have collections. That's just like, oh, every once in a while when I want to go look at my copy of Earthbound, I can. But you actually are doing something and showcasing that for not only you. I mean, I'm sure it's for you as well, so you can look back and kind of have a fondness for the things you've done. But that's a driver, I suppose, for a lot of like collectors are looking for that extra thing that adds more to their collection. I think that's really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like to, kind of celebrate the cool things and also hopefully show people things that they might not have heard of. So yeah, I think that is kind of part of the goal also. And I just really enjoy. I just love old boxes of games, and I could do this forever.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
It was when you started the channel, it was one of those situations where every now and again you see someone have an idea and you're like, I should have done that first. That's a really good idea. Super fun. But I love it. I mean, I love everything you do, but I highly recommend people check out Boxography because it is very interesting. He's being a little humble because he shows you everything inside. He gives you sometimes a little history or like some fun facts and trivia about stuff. And as a complete in-box collector myself, it has actual utility because sometimes I'm like, okay, tell me everything that came in Final Fantasy so I can make sure my copy has all the doodads and bits and odds and ends.
Oh yeah, that's another thing worth discussing. Sometimes I find myself scouring eBay listings to be like, is this really everything that came with it? Or if I'm buying something new, especially, I'll look up 15 listings maybe to be like, all right, does this really? What all is supposed to be in this box? Because so many people will list things CIB, complete in box,
right?
And I'm not saying that they're trying to pull one over on you, but they just might not realize, oh, there's like a poster that's supposed to be in here that's not in there. So that actually is part of the research that I do before I do these videos and before I order things for my own collection, is like making sure what actually, seeing what actually is complete in box for this or that game. So yeah, that's actually a good point that you bring up.
Yeah. It's
so
it's
cool.
an awesome channel. We'll have links in the show notes to everything Rob does. Please go check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
High quality stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So since we have a new guest, we always like to ask the big question. What is your favorite indie game of all time?
I think, I really don't even have to think about this one. My favorite indie game of all time might even be my second favorite game of all time, period. And that is a game that I beat recently. I rebeat it recently and talked about it a little bit over in the Polykill Discord, Dear Esther.
Nice.
Dear Esther is kind of like the original walking sim.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, I don't know of any that came before it. If it's not the original one, it's the one that kind of, it's kind of like the granddaddy. If it's not the true original. It's just, so Dear Esther is a game where you are one character walking on an island, and you are just walking from one end of the island to the other. And it's not like a tropical island. It's kind of this island. It's I don't know where it's supposed to. I don't know where it's supposed to be, or if it's even supposed to be in a geographical place. But it's kind of more of a woodsy, foggy island, and you're just walking from one end of it to the other, and the character's having kind of this inner monologue as he walks through, and it's a little bit rambling. The game starts off with him saying, "Dear Esther," and he's basically kind of reading, or he's sort of speaking as if he's writing a letter to his, I believe it's supposed to be his wife, Esther, who you find out is not with us anymore. And he's kind of talking to her in his head. And the dialogue is very unclear exactly what's going on, but you get hints that there's something about her involving a car crash and a drunk driver. There's this weird kind of tangent that he goes on every now and then involving him being hospitalized for kidney stones. He talks about chemistry. He talks about a couple other people who it's kind of unclear how they fit in. One of them he mentions was the drunk driver who evidently hit her. There's another one who's a scientist. He also kind of loosely talks about an old inhabitant of the island he's on, a little bit of the history of the island he's on. And while he's doing this, you're just walking, and kind of I wouldn't even call it a mechanic, but the only quote unquote mechanic in the game besides walking is when you get into a dark area, he will automatically turn on a flashlight. And that's the extent of the interactivity you have in the game. And it's when I played this game, I felt the same way as I did when I first watched what is my favorite movie of all time, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey. I saw that when I was 18, and I didn't understand what the hell I had just watched, but it also absolutely blew me away, and I couldn't wait to go back and watch it again. And that's exactly how I felt with Dear Esther. I didn't quite get it, but it was just a beautiful experience. And the music while you're doing all this is absolutely my favorite soundtrack of any game I've ever played, indie or not. So it's just kind of this meditative journey that this guy is going on. I think it's about a 2-hour game, maybe a little bit less than that even. And everything about it just really hits me. Again, even though I can't quite literally understand what's going on, it's always just extremely moving whenever I play it. So Dear Esther, it's a solid awesome recommend.
That's great. The thing about that game and Stanley Parable, for my perspective of it, is I used to be into playing a bunch of Half-Life source mods, and they came from that era of the making Half-Life little mini games with the Half-Life engine and the source engine. Yeah. And I played both of those before they were official games. They were just mods.
Oh, wow.
On a Source DB or whatever, and so just when you say that, I can remember the differences in my head, how it kind of looked it was Half-Life-y environments, yep. And then they improved it obviously whenever they released it as an actual game. But yeah, such a cool awesome title. Yeah.
Yeah, my appreciation of it doesn't go that far back, but I did get it pretty early on. Once it was made in the better graphic style, I think it was a year after they that official release when I played it for the first time. I just randomly got it in a Humble Bundle one year, and I was like, oh, I'll check this out, I guess, and I was just sucked into it.
That's always the best feeling.
Don't you love that? When you have no idea what's coming, and then you leave it, and you're like, well, that changed my life. This is now one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And just on a side note, I would like to say Jessica Curry, she's the composer for the music in this game. And if you're not familiar with her, just go look up basically anything she's done. I would, of course I would recommend this, and also, not Amnesia, but what was the Amnesia sequel? A Machine for Pigs? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She did the the score for that as well, and both of them are just outstanding.
That's awesome. This is one still on my backlog, so I think I'm moving it up now.
Nice.
Appreciate that.
All right. Well, this is
very cool.
Even though I just called it Silksong Cast at the beginning, this is IndieQuest. So the thing we do on this show is bring indie games to our ever-growing list of indie games called the Quest Log. There are 2 segments to the Quest Log. We got the main quest, which is an easy recommendation, an incredible experience, a banger, maybe a masterpiece, or a game that just excels above and beyond. It's one of those games where you could recommend to almost anybody. And then we got the side quest, which is still a recommendation. Maybe it's not really that long, or there's not much meat on the bone there, or maybe there's a couple caveats like that, or maybe it's just really niche, or maybe it's just like an 8 out of 10, but it's still a recommended game. And we each brought a pick today. Who wants to go first? We'll save Rob for a couple of picks in, but who wants to go between the main hosts here? Maybe Rob, you pick who goes first between us 3.
I want to hear from Seth.
Oh, dang it. I so badly wanted Josh to go because I think I just have this weird feeling that Josh and I brought the same game. And I told Josh this, but then Josh says, no, it's a very niche game. Like, I don't think we would have brought the same one. So I guess it really doesn't matter if it's me or Josh. Like, we'll find out right now if we brought the same game.
Yeah.
So, okay. I will go ahead and go. I brought a game that released very recently. And to be completely honest, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it is called Ooh or Oh.
Ooh?
I
know which one you're talking about.
So glad you brought this game.
How many
I want to
O's
play
is
this
that?
game
It's 5?
so bad.
No,
5 O's?
it's 3 O's.
Oh, okay, 3 O's.
Does it have the 2 dots on one of those? Is that what this is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. Josh, you did not bring this game.
Nope. It's a different game that I brought today.
Oh, okay. So backstory for everyone. Of course, the 3 of us are all friends on Steam. And there was one day where Josh said, oh man, I found my game. I'm super excited. And it was on August 10th. And I swear it says on Steam that you bought this game on August 10th. And I was already planning on playing it. And I was like, well, okay. That's okay. Whatever. That's great. That's always a fun coincidence if we do bring the same game. But I thought for sure you were bringing this game. So interesting that you're not. And honestly, I was like planning on this. I almost got to the point where it was like, he's definitely bringing it. We're just gonna both talk about this game. And then you didn't. And now I'm kind of sad. But oh well. Here we are.
Close. I was close. I'll say I was really close to playing this. This is like number two pick, but I played something else. I played something else. Yeah,
perfect. Okay, so Ooh is how I'm going to pronounce it. Was released on August 7th, 2025. It was developed by Nama Takahashi, and the platform currently is only on PC. And from as far as I know, you can only purchase it on Steam. But I assume maybe you can purchase on itch as well. I didn't get that far, to be completely honest. But overview of what this game is, pretty simple. It is a puzzle platformer, and it's also, I wouldn't say it's completely this, but it is a little bit this, a Metroid Brainia. A la,
oh yeah,
Leap Year. It reminds me quite a lot of Leap Year, which is a game that Steve brought last year.
I said, "Oh no," because this means I have to play this sooner. I had to play this sooner. So already,
it is a game. It is a game that the 2 of you bare minimum, and almost anyone out there, I feel like lengthwise, even if it isn't exactly your thing, like it's just not very long, and I feel like it's a game worth experiencing from this year for sure. Which is why I'm bringing it to the quest log today, of course. So. All right, what does it look like? It is a pixel art, 2D puzzle platformer. It's not unlike anything that you've probably seen before on 16-bit systems. It is kind of, honestly, the presentation is maybe, it is good. Like, it's colorful, it's fun, it's adorable, but it is not original, I suppose. Like, we've all seen games that look like this, right? So I can't sit here and say, oh man, Ooh is ultra its own. It's one of a kind. It's its own thing, and you've never seen anything like it because you have. It's one of its like quirks, which I feel like a lot of games are doing nowadays, is when you full screen this game, it is like a screen within a screen where it's like a smaller screen that fits within the larger screen, and the outside of the screen like has like moving pixel art behind it, right? Like all the stuff that we can play on like Switch, right? When you're playing like a retro style game on Switch, it like cuts off half the screen, right? Because it's trying to get to that like native resolution that was originally on the 4.3. Well, this is, although it doesn't need to do this, it does this anyway. It like emulates that style because it's this old looking game, right? So honestly, that's really all I have for presentation. It's not overly unique, but it is still very good looking. The music,
I'd say,
on the other
it's
hand,
cute.
Yeah, go
like,
ahead.
I like the
It
art.
is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying it's cute. I like the art of the main character. I just think it has a nice little bubbly look to it, and I feel like that's the most original aspect. Is probably just that main character in this. The rest kind of looks like what you would imagine a pixel art game would look like, right? So
I think it looks great also.
Yeah, no, I will say. All that being said, it is a great looking game. It looks wonderful. I'm not saying it doesn't look good. It's just there's really not a whole lot to talk about. If you've played a 16-bit game, you've seen something that looks kind of like this at some point, right? It really does that basic puzzle platformery look. It's unobtrusive, I suppose. Like you're not going to get distracted by anything on screen. You know exactly what you're looking at and what you're doing, right? The music is of the chiptune variety, and contrary to, I suppose, the visuals, I would say the music is quite unique in a lot of ways. It is very upbeat, very pleasant to listen to, absolutely a toe tapper, every single song. And it does that like leitmotif thing where it kind of intertwines that main melody through the entire OST. But this is absolutely a soundtrack that I could absolutely see myself going back and listening to outside of the game. It is just very pleasant, very nice, very charming, and just a good. There's not a single miss across this entire soundtrack. Story? I literally on my notes I said, what story? There's no story. This is not a story-focused game. You are this little guy, I think that they say that you're a bomb caterpillar, technically. So you are a caterpillar, you are a bug. But it's kind of weird because your segments are actual bombs, like you would see in The Legend of Zelda, right? They have a fuse and everything. And you can utilize those, which we'll get to a lot more as we talk about what the gameplay is like, but utilize those to do different things within the world. But really your character, at least how I see your character, is mostly just the head. And then which is adorable as Josh was saying. And then the segments are just like these bomb sections that you can detach when needed to propel yourself in different directions. The story itself is unimportant, and honestly, it doesn't really tell you anything about what's going on. I mean, it is that kind of Metroidvania. I did mention Leap Year already. It doesn't tell you how to play it. It drops you into the world. It says, here's a couple button, like make sure you can move back and forth. Here, press this button to see what it does. All right, you're off. Have fun. And you learn as you go. And I suppose, unless you guys have any other questions about anything that I've already mentioned, I'm going to head right into why most people will find enjoyment in this game. And that is...
Give me the meat, man.
Let's hear it.
The gameplay. And I would go so far as to say that this gameplay is excellent. It is concise. It is exactly what you want out of one of these kinds of games. Now, at the top, I mentioned in the overview that I guess I would call this a Metroidvania. On the Steam page, they label it. There's a tag, and I don't really know how those tags are procured, if like users do that or if the dev does that, but regardless, one of the main top tags is Metroidvania. And I suppose it does sort of have a Metroidvania feel in that there is a map that gets developed as you go, and you can technically go backwards, and you're going to have to do that at certain points. But this is not the type of game where if I start on the easternmost quadrant and I go to the westernmost quadrant, I'm going to have to travel back to the easternmost quadrant to do things and unlock more stuff. This is, if it is a Metroidvania or gated exploration, it is one of the most linear ones that I have ever played. It almost makes sense to go in a specific direction. Like, you feel like you're going from screen to screen. You will have to go back to previous screens within like a couple blocks usually of where you're currently at on the map to get things or do things to affect what you need to do. But you're never going to be, crossing this entire map. And that is another reason why I would compare this to Leap Year, because in Leap Year, there is like a logical progression. Leap Year, if anyone doesn't remember, go back and listen to that episode. It's a really good game, and it's a really good episode Steve covered. But if in Leap Year, you basically are going through and collecting all 29 quote-unquote days of February, right? And that's why it's called Leap Year, as this character. And, it's got this like jump mechanic that hurts you if you fall too far. But it expects you, for the most part, to go from 1 to 29, right? Like, it is sort of a Metroidvania, but it expects you to go in order. And OO follows that very similar path where there's no numbering or anything like that, but the game expects you to go in a specific order to complete it. Which, honestly, I don't mind that at all. Like, it's just a solid, really fun puzzle game without the, I'm going to backtrack, right? I don't need that in all my games. And especially with how much I've been playing Silksong, like we mentioned at the top, it's nice to just have something to kind of chill out to, and I don't have to pour over to like figure out where I need to go next or anything like that. It's all very simple and in terms of figuring out where I should be headed, right? And like I mentioned, also, this is only a 2 to 3 hour game, and I would imagine most people will be able to complete it in that period of time. If you are really adverse to playing puzzle games, then it might take you like 4, but it took me 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think, was my time. And I think that I took longer than I should have. I probably could have completed this game in 2.5 hours, but I'll get into it right now. This game, as I mentioned, it teaches you as you go. And so you will get to a new area. So you start in like level or world 1, and then you progress through it, and you get to world 2, and you get an achievement every time that happens. And throughout that world, it typically teaches you a different way to maneuver your character than you had previously done before, by making it so that there's an obstacle somewhere, and it's like, figure it out. Like, you've got all the tools you need to get where you need to go. Figure it out. And that's why I see Steve nodding his head, because this is absolutely like with a bullet, a Steve type game. Like, this is very much what Steve enjoys in most of his games. It's what he's talked about on a lot of episodes. Don't tell me what to do. Just give me a screen. Make it so it's not so is there like a hidden message somewhere? Which I know Steve probably does like that. For the average person, this game is not like, do I need to like find the clue in the upper right pixel? It's like, no, it's not doing that. But it's like, okay, it's very basic. This is your goal, and this is your dude. Figure out how to do it. And I don't want to spoil too much about what this game does. What I will say is you learn very early on that you cannot jump. There is no jump button. The only thing you can do is use your bomb to either propel yourself upwards or propel yourself horizontally. That's it. But there's a lot more that you can do as you go. And eventually, like I said, for the most part, those are your tools. I don't think that this is a spoiler. I think if you watch trailers for this, you're going to see this. Eventually, you do get the opportunity to unlock a second bomb, and you have to utilize both bombs together. And you can tell which one's going to go off first, because the one that's going to go off first is pink, and the other one's purple. And lots of things come up, and lots of different puzzle solving comes up. And it even gets to the point where I enjoy a good puzzle platformer that is not only puzzle, but is also platformer. So that it puts you in a position where you have to kind of think ahead, like, okay, I need to first solve the puzzle and then be somewhat adept at platforming to figure out how I'm going to get through this series of whatever is ahead of me. So, without talking too much more about what this game does, do you guys have any questions based on screenshots you've seen or anything as I've been talking?
Yeah.
Everything you're saying gets me going. I'm very excited. I will say, as someone that really enjoys the leap years of the world that teach you to fish rather than show you, and as someone that grew up on Bomberman 64, this sounds like the perfect fusion of my interests here.
Yes. To the point where very early on you see this thing, right? It teaches you, it puts you in a room where you have nothing to do. So it's like, what do I do here? And you just start bombing stuff. And then something opens, right? It's like, oh, cool. It's Zelda. Yay, I did the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move on to other areas that look very similar to that room. And you have to like take that knowledge that you gained and remember, like, oh, it's like, what? What do I do here now? Like, there's nothing. Bomb the thing, and then boom. Like, the walls aren't cracked in this game. You just have to remember that there are specific locations in certain sections that look similar to old sections, and then you kind of get that rhythm.
This sounds mean, but I love a game that lets you make assumptions that it knows are wrong, and then later, like, redirects you to be like, hey, you didn't really fully learn the lesson, but now you get it. So you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, so I can bomb these walls. Great, okay.
Yes.
And then later you learn, like, oh, that's step one in a 3-part process that the other 2 pieces were already teed up for me, and now I have to learn how to separate and use them to my advantage. So that's very cool. Does that then lead to, I know you said there's not like a ton of Metroidvania-ing back through areas, but there's some. Do the moves or the knowledge you gain in later levels make that traversal go more smoothly or aid in that at all? Do you end up being able to like shortcut puzzles and stuff like that?
So this is something I think everyone who is listening right now on this current podcast will love, because I think the 4 of us all enjoy this type of thing. At the beginning of a level, you see an obstacle every time. And you can go either left or right. And left is usually like, I have no idea how to get through there. Right is going to take you through the level, and you're going to learn things as you go. This is the Metroidvania part. After you get all the way through the level, it will loop you back to the start. There are also like teleportation points, so sometimes you just get to the end, and then you can teleport back. Using the knowledge you gain throughout that level, you then can figure out how to unlock the left corridor. So if you knew it beforehand, you didn't even have to do any of that. And that's
okay.
Yes.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Did you ever play Nama Takahashi's other game, Elekhead?
No, but I should have mentioned that this is also the developer of Elekhead, which I know that you played, Steve, but I never did.
Yeah. Without spoiling anything for Elekhead, this is very on brand. Because Elekhead is the type of game, it does something kind of similar, maybe not quite as Metroidvania, but you're learning how to use your head throwing mechanic in that game. But it is the type of game that after you play through like the 4-hour adventure or whatever, once you play it a second time and know what you know, you can finish it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's extremely fast to finish. So I'm glad to hear that like that's sort of like a branding thing that Nama Takahashi is doing, because I think that's such a fun trick. And it makes the choice to speedrun it really interesting, because your speedruns are going to be really fast.
There's very few games that I think so in depth about a speedrun as I'm playing it. Like I'm not a speedrunner. I've tried to speedrun Gungeon in the past, and I do okay if I'm really focused, but like I don't think about playing games in terms of how fast can I play them usually. But as you're playing this, you're like, oh my gosh, if I had that knowledge, I could have done this so much sooner. Like, literally the only thing you get throughout your entire adventure that would help you progress is when you get your second bomb. There is a portion of the game where you get that second bomb, and that will help you progress further. But as soon as you get the second bomb, you can pretty much complete all puzzles without doing any extra stuff like learning. Like if you know what to do, you can just bypass stuff, which is, to me, that's super interesting, super cool. If you're the type of person that's just like, you know what, I'm going to do it the hard way. I'm going to try to figure this out, like without any hints, like, I shouldn't say hints. It doesn't really give you hints. It just teaches you how to play it as you play it. But just like bang your head against the wall and try to figure out how to get through. I'll say the gates, I suppose, in this game are frogs for whatever reason. They're like these yellow frogs. And generally you have to find a yellow fly and touch it and then take it to the frog. The frog then eats it, and you can move through. So generally, at the beginning of all these levels, there's a yellow frog sitting there, and you have to figure out how to get the fly to the yellow frog. Typically, you can't figure out how to do that. So then you got to do the whole level, and then you can figure out how to do it based on the knowledge you gain. But like I said, there's no text. There's nobody telling you what to do. You just... And I think that is some of the most brilliant game design is when a game teaches you how to play it without telling you how. I just love that. Like, don't talk at me. Just show me through my own thumbs. Like that. I love that. So, anything else you guys have before I throw it on the quest list?
I have two quick, more notes than questions. One is just to reaffirm one thing you said in these screenshots on Steam. It looks like one of these is of a map, and yes, it is very linear, just like you said, for a game like this.
Yeah,
you can see a few spots where it does branch, but yeah, it's nothing like most of the style.
Right. Yes.
Second, as if this was going to do me any good whatsoever, I Googled "ooh" pronunciation, and
it's like ooh.
So Google AI is trying to give me the instructions for pronouncing just. It defaulted back just to that O with the two dots. That's all it's even going to try. And then I don't know about you guys, but Google AI has historically like been very hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is wrong, but I'm saying the instructions here do not make any sense. It says the key to correctly pronouncing I'll just call it the O sound, is to round your lips as if you are saying ooh, but instead say or a with your tongue.
This is what the people listen to this show for. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, the with your tongue part really threw me for a loop there. So I don't know what's going on.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
Josh, did you have anything else?
Steve, actually, your guys' exchange back and forth. I was going to ask if you could like do shortcuts, and you answered that question. So yeah, that's makes me even more interested.
There's also like, I believe, hidden things. I think that I found some hidden stuff that I didn't necessarily have to find. But interestingly, I got all achievements in this game, and I think that anyone who plays through it is going to get all the achievements. So if you're an achievement chaser, specifically on Steam, it's an easy game to get 100%. All you have to do is beat it, I believe. But it's very interesting to me in that it's the type of game that gives you all the achievements but still hides things, which is fun. Like, I like that. That's like classic, that's like old school retro. Oh, for the hell of it, we're actually going to hide stuff from you. And if you want to have the genuine good times and just find them, then go for it without giving you the ding or whatever. So
I got curious and I went and looked on speedrun.com. The world record speedrun for this game is 10 minutes and 56 seconds long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I can tell you that I bet 8 of those minutes is just getting the second bomb. Well, probably 5 of those minutes is getting the second bomb, and then another 4.5 of those minutes is doing something else that I will not mention. But there is a very interesting thing that happens in this game. So
cool.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I hope that you'll all play it, because I would love to talk to others. This is one of those games that you play and just like, man, I want somebody else to talk to about this game. It's fun. So
you've been crushing it in terms of like the 2025 games. I'll zoom in here on my phone app of what I need to play for the year. Top 2, and Promise Mascot Agency. So Seth is undefeated with good picks.
There it is.
I saw Starvaders in there too. You know,
Starvaders
that's
is right
another
there,
one.
yeah.
I'm still going to check out Starvaders myself as well. Yeah.
Oh gosh, so good. So good. The music itself. Oh, so good. All right. So with all that said, I will go ahead and throw on the quest log. It's probably, I don't know how obvious it is. A lot of times or I guess I shouldn't speak for the general we here. I should say often when there is a shorter experience of a game, I will tend to think, is this long enough to be worthy of a main quest? Is there enough meat on the bone here to give it a main quest? And so often, if it's a 2-ish hour game, I'll be like, probably the side quest type experience. I think that's what they were going for. But I cannot do that with OO. This is, as Leap Year is. Leap Year is also a main quest game. OO deserves to be a main quest. It is genuinely intriguing, and I just can't get over the game that makes you feel like a smart player by not telling you stuff, and when you figure it out, it's like the aha. There are so many ahas throughout this entire game that it never gets old. It's just I ate it up, loved it. There was even portion at the end where, as I mentioned, I finished it in 2 hours and 50 minutes, but I probably could have done it in 2.5, and that was because the game taught me something that I then forgot, and that was on me. Right? I had to. This is for me personally. This is almost the type of game where you want to just sit down and play it, because you don't really need to take notes when playing this game. But if you sat down and played half of this game and then came back to it in a week, you would not be doing yourself any service. Like it's very much that bite size, play it all in one shot and just get it done. So yeah, I forgot something, or I just wasn't thinking about how I could do something. And I knew I had all the tools, but couldn't figure it out. It took me a long time to figure a certain section out. But once I got it, it was like the, slap yourself, the V8, smack yourself in the forehead type of thing. So, but yeah, that's OO, and it is a main quest game.
Hell yeah.
Heck.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's go. All right. Well, I'm jazzed. I can go next.
Okay.
I'll be one last appetizer before we let Rob take things over here and really show us how it's done. So, we're not technically in spooky season yet, but my heart is in spooky season. My heart's in Scaretember. So, I've started easing myself towards horror. We're not going to go full horror today, but easing myself towards horror. So we're going to bring something that, you can maybe tee up for October, and also one that folks may have forgotten because it released in May. I'm going to talk about The Midnight Walk.
Oh, nice.
So, I know my boys here are probably familiar because I streamed the entirety of this game. I actually just wrapped it up earlier this week. So, this is not one where I kept my cards close to the chest. I in fact, am revealing my hand. But, Midnight Walk, game developed by Moonhood, released May 8th, 2025. And it's available on PC, PlayStation 5, and importantly, the associated VR headsets that go along with those two platforms. This is a dual VR and non-VR game. It can be played either way. It doesn't assume one way or the other. It just asks you up front which way do you want to play it, and either option is good. I did not look into the exact circumstances, but I will say, for those curious, Moonhood is the studio, but they, in advertising and things, say that this is brought to you from the minds that brought you Lost in Random. So somehow Lost in Random is coming up twice in games that I brought this year. I think the studio that originally did Lost in Random was like rolled into a larger studio and then maybe like split out. either way, I'm sure if you tracked like the development careers of individual developers, that they share some development talent. So you could think of this as in that lineage in a way. But what is the Midnight Walk? It is what I would call an adventure. I would maybe just say adventure, maybe adventure platform game that's focused very heavily on its unique aesthetic, which in this case is a very strong selling point because the world and the characters are handcrafted out of clay, and then they are modeled and animated as like real models in real life transported into the game. But importantly, not claymation, which is what you think of when I say that, which is its own style and aesthetic in and of itself. In this case, it's very of a type to like Tim Burton. So you think stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, things like that. You get sort of these like doll-like characters that have this choppy, almost like stop motion-y animation in how they move and kind of like move in larger than life ways. That's more in line. In fact, if you told me that this was like a Coraline game or something like that, I would totally believe you. But I'm going to ask, I always ask if anybody's played it. I don't think any of you have played it, but I'm curious if any of you have any intention to play it.
I originally had intention to play it. Since you have said that this game is better experience, and you may be getting to this, so I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder. You started playing this game on stream just the normal old video gamer way with a controller in hand, but pivoted by the next week to playing in VR. And I believe you said that VR is the preferred way to play. And I, first of all, don't have VR that would support it. And second of all, I've done VR and it's not for me. I get the white face queasiness. So yeah, that's just not in the cards. But
all right, you are correct about everything, and we will get more into detail about that. But yes, I do believe, despite the fact that you can play it either way, that you should probably, if you have the inclination and the technology, favor the VR version for this one. Rob, are you a VR guy at all? Do you do much
Not
VR?
really. I do have the PS4 VR, mostly because when my daughter was little, she wanted it, so we got it for Christmas one year. But I don't really. I don't even know the last time I actually used it.
All right, fair. Someday I'll meet a second person that has played VR. It's bound to happen.
No, for me, my goal this year is to get a PSVR 2 and the PC Breakout box to play Half-Life Alyx, and then just the stuff I've been missing on VR. So
yeah,
you saying that will be a part of that list when I eventually do get a PSVR 2 and do all that. Just trying to see if there's any good sales on it, But I know the price just isn't getting any more on this, at least so far. So that's what my thought is like, it's going to be like the headset's going to be kind of affordable for me for now, and then everything's going up in price, so I kind of want to grab it before that happens, inevitably.
It's funny that you say that, actually, with everything going on in tariffs and whatnot. Every 9 months now we get a new announcement. PS5 is getting $50 more expensive. Controllers are getting $10 more expensive. They never mention VR2. They're like,
not yet.
We're lowering the price and we can't sell it, so we're
just get this thing out of here.
Going to raise the price.
But I think I have enough of the games I'm just like that are kind of being left, in the wayside or whatever, that I do want to play, and having a good PC now that I can play some PC VR too, like Steam VR stuff. I think that's going to be worth my purchase. So I'm definitely in that realm eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When you get there, let me know. I'd be happy to put together some of my favorites into a list. But I would say yes, Midnight Walk is one that you should check out when you have a PSVR 2.
Sweet.
Specifically for some mechanical reasons that I'll talk about in a minute here. But
if you're not interested in shelling out for one of the modern VRs, you could always hold out for that Virtual Boy Switch thing that's coming out.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Play some Midnight Walk on there.
Yeah.
Little Midnight Wario, All right. So in Midnight Walk, there is a story, there is a narrative. To me, maybe this is just how I experience games. I would say sort of like the individual story beats if you could even call them story beats of the game, are not as important as sort of like the vibe and the motivation to keep going forward. It's kind of in the sense of like, this is much more literal. There's characters with dialogue and stuff, but I think of something like Journey, where like there's a story to Journey, but it's not like, oh, I'd love to read the book about Journey. It's like there is a narrative that encompasses all the components of the games that just kind of like keeps the ball moving forward and keeps you invested. And I would say that that's the same for Midnight Walk as well. You wake up as, you don't really know who you are in the context of the beginning of the game. The game, I should say, is all first person, so you never see your character other than your hands, of course, because VR. If you're playing in VR. But you wake up, you know very little about yourself, but very soon you meet the character Potboy, and Potboy is the character you'll see on the cover of the game, all the advertisements, everything. It's all Potboy. He's this little, like, imagine if Tim Burton had a first crack at designing a character from Cuphead, and that's what you get is Potboy. He's a very cute fella. And when I first got the game, I thought you were going to be playing as him. I actually thought it'd be more of like a 3D platformer, but no, it's a first person game, and you kind of navigate Potboy around. You point him to do different puzzling objectives and things, which we'll talk about. But your sort of like task that you're set out upon is far off in the distance. There is what is called Moon Mountain, which is this like looming large mountain with a hovering moon like directly above the peak. And you need to escort Potboy along what characters in this game refer to as the Midnight Walk. So it's this trail that kind of winds in and through these lands heading towards Moon Mountain. It kind of has the energy of like a religious pilgrimage or something like that. You meet other characters that are taking the Midnight Walk in that direction. You'll meet characters that are abandoning and walking like the opposite way down the Midnight Walk. So there's people all around you, and you get the sense that this world is kind of it's kind of has like a Dark Souls energy to it, where like the light from this world is fading, and so everything is sort of crumbling and falling apart in disrepair, dark, foreboding, things like that. And so as you go along, your ultimate goal is to reach Moon Mountain, but you will also kind of take like sort of detours, but I think they're actually part of the journey that your character's supposed to be going on, into various like kind of villages and townships and stuff, and you will meet characters that usually have some problem that you need to help them with. It may be someone that has passed away that needs to move on, and you're kind of helping their spirit move on, or somebody that you meet like a giant who's lost his heart because he's sad, things like that. And you're trying to kind of solve their problems as you journey towards Moon Mountain. The actual minute to minute of that is, like I said, it's all first person. It is, I would call them light puzzles, but there are puzzles. So if you looked at it, there'd be an inclination to call this maybe a walking sim, but it is more mechanical than that. There's enemies that you'll come across that you need to avoid. There are puzzles that you need to figure out how to solve, things like that. It's not just necessarily experiencing the narrative. A lot of those puzzles focus on a couple core mechanics. One is like directing Potboy to various places. So like a very simple example is you might be in a very dark area and there's unlit candles all around, and you can point Potboy towards them and he'll go over there and use the little fire at the top of his head and he'll light the candle. Or there are like these metal tubes in certain places that only Potboy can fit into, and you'll tell him like, oh, go to this tube and then like stand on that switch or light that furnace, which will then do something over here that now I can interact with. And it's like a back and forth of you telling him what to do and then you going and solving some sort of puzzle. So Potboy's your biggest like tool in puzzle solving. The other one is the game has a really big emphasis on your eyesight. Specifically, there's a dedicated button, or if you're playing on PlayStation VR 2, this is the cool mechanical thing I was talking about. Since it has eye tracking, you can literally close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, or press the button to close your eyes, it heightens your sense of hearing, so you can hear enemies with spatial audio, or in some cases there's like these little like jingly like key bell demon hopper guys, and you can like hear what direction they're running, or if they're like, if there's like a room full of like chests of drawers, you can close your eyes and like turn your head around and listen and figure out like which which drawer is he hiding in, and go pull that out so you don't have to pull out 200 drawers to figure out where he's hiding. Stuff like that.
I want to mention, and I don't know why this came to mind, but we have come so far with that kind of stuff. I remember thinking it was so cool when the first controllers that had rumble features had that stuff going on, and you would play like Mario Party, and there would be a game where the rumble, like there's a bomb or something below a thing, and it rumbles a different way, and it's like, oh my god, this is so cool. And now you can literally play a video game where you can hear how far away enemies are in your headphones. Like, that's insane.
It's so true. I remember the dopamine hit. I would put the rumble pack in Ocarina of Time, and I would just be running around villages and stuff, like just waiting for that one little
Yep.
And as soon as I got it, it was like, that's like a rush that lasted a week. That was good. So that's really fun. And again, I think it's a lot more fun. It's very similar to Josh, what was that game that tracked your eyes with the webcam? I know you played it.
Oh,
Twice.
Before your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I picked Josh.
Yeah.
It's like that, where I would say the experience is enhanced by like eliminating any friction between you and that interaction. So if you can play something with eye tracking, I think it's a little bit better than playing it. There's something more novel about like being in the middle of a room and actually closing your eyes and like sensing it out versus like holding a button on the controller and then doing that same thing. Yeah. So you'll do that. And then also, as part of the eye tracking, you'll often come across various objects or interactable things that have like these giant eye motifs on them. And if you stand facing them and you close your eyes for a few seconds, you hear kind of like a pop sound. And then when you open it, that thing will have changed in some way. So it might be like a statue, and when you open your eyes, the statue has crumbled and you see what is inside of it. Or it might be a wall, and when you open your eyes, that wall has disappeared and a whole new room has appeared. Sometimes it'll completely transport you to a new location. And then in some cases, you'll use it in interactions / like quote unquote combat, I guess, with enemies, where that you'll interact with the enemies' like movement patterns or level of aggression with the eye tracking as well. So you're using all those different things in combination to navigate these environments. It's split up into chapters, and as you go, they do kind of layer new mechanics or tools on top of each other, but it is pretty consistent throughout. You're doing a lot of the same things, although the game is only, if you mainline it, like 5-6 hours long. So it doesn't necessarily overstay its welcome or anything like that. Yeah. Any questions about like the mechanics of how the game works?
So there's nothing really challenging about it. It sounds like it's kind of a matter of going through the things and doing the stuff that you're supposed to do. Like you said, light puzzles, but nothing where you're going to really be hung up on trying to get past a part.
Correct. Yeah. The only time I got hung up past a part is one of the spatial audio things, because my headphones were reversed. I had the left and the right, and the right and the left, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
They're tricking me.
It's supposed to be right here.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's very, I would say it's not head scratcher puzzles. They don't want you to like be Witness style stuck on a puzzle for a month or forever. They want you to keep moving forward. So all that is like fun enough, but again, like I said up top, it's the like aesthetic building blocks that really make this game what it is. And if you took me back in time, maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, somewhere around there, and you asked me like, how important are graphics to you in a game? Do you care about graphics in a game? I would have said, no, I don't care about graphics at all. As long as the game is fun, who cares? That's ill-informed, because sometimes the presentation of the game is additive, and sometimes it can be the center point, and that can still be okay. Like, it is all right if a game is technically or artistically really impressive and the rest of the game is fun enough to keep you moving forward. And this is that type of game where I feel like there's so much to like about this art style. Now, some people would just be turned off, right? Because some people don't like that like Nightmare Before Christmas energy, or they're burnt out. You know, they'll call it hot topic-y or something like that. And I get it. Like, I understand that it's a little bit played out. Like, we've seen a lot of sweatshirts in our lives with Jack Skellington's face on it. But at the same time, this, I think, is a unique spin on it. It's very cohesive. The world is like, everything feels appropriate. All the pieces fit together very well, even though it's like, you know, giant buildings that are curved over on themselves and like mutated characters with like messed up faces and stuff like that. It all feels of a kind, and it's just fun to look at. And that's one of the big reasons I think that VR is far and away the way to play this game, is that in VR you can get like right up to that thing, and you get the sense of scale that you can't get outside of VR. So to see like these big, you know, sometimes there's like lumbering, like a character that's with you on the Midnight Walk, for example, is a house with legs and it's walking. Mm-hmm. And the difference between like seeing that versus like standing right next to it and looking up at this huge freaking house that's walking alongside you that you can like walk underneath, it is the difference is like a mile wide. It's a very transformative experience to be doing it in VR, whereas flat, I was like, yeah, this is cool, you know? So maybe I'm really just bringing VR to the show today and not the Midnight Walk. But I do think that this is the game that maybe more than any other I've ever played. I would say more than any other I've ever played. I was like, damn. Second most, because Tetris Effect is this way too. But it's like this VR like is really pushing this over the edge in some ways. So, and all that, of course, coupled with an incredible soundtrack. It's very kind of like slow. It's got this kind of like, it's got a lot of like strings, and it's like stretched out, a lot of minor keys. It has kind of like a southern country energy to the whole thing. You meet a lot of characters with like southern drawls and stuff like that, and it all packages together really well to make for something very interesting and creepy without being scary, if that makes sense. Now in VR, there's a couple times where I'm like, you know, a character comes lumbering towards you, and it's all got kind of like the Girl from the Ring energy, and things are all clicking as it runs towards you, and you're like, oh my God. But it's not one that's like, you got to necessarily turn all the lights out, crank the volume up, and not have anything on the side. Like you could get away still having Netflix going if you're playing this on the TV, and you would still get the vibe. So yeah, I'll round into my thoughts, but any lingering questions on the Midnight Walk?
I don't think so.
That's a no.
Am happy that you brought it, because I feel like, even though I'm not a VR person, the quest log is lacking in VR offering, I suppose, right? Do we have maybe like one other game on the quest log? I'm not entirely sure, but there's not a whole lot of VR stuff, so.
It has been a while. Yeah. I brought a couple early days, but not this one.
Yeah, we did a VR episode. I think it was like episode 4 or 5 or something.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing. It might be the last time we brought like indie VR or like specific games.
Yeah.
Oh, you did What the Bat is maybe would be another one.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. So this brings me into kind of my conclusion, and I think I say it so much that it's like a bit of a stereotype at this point, but this was a tough one for me, because when I first played it, so I streamed it across 3 streams. Probably should have taken me 2, but I get sleepy. I got to go to bed early. You know, I got a kid. I got a job. After the first stream, I was like, that was all right. That was fun. You know, I enjoyed my time with it. I was going to keep playing it because I had streamed it, and all the stuff that I streamed during my scary season streams, I always try to see all the way through. So I was like, I kind of had forced momentum there. But if I was just playing on my own, I would have been like, I think I got the vibe, you know, I'm good. But then playing the next stream in VR, I was like, whoa, it's like playing a whole other game. So that kind of brings me to like, how does that all square up, and where do I place it? And maybe I'm being a little punitive to the Midnight Walk, but I think the reality is, if I'm envisioning people coming out and they look at the quest log and they see games, they see the Midnight Walk, I think 9 out of 10 people are going to play that game as a result of seeing that, either without access or without interest to VR. I don't think people are going to play the VR version more often than not. And so for that, I'm going to put Midnight Walk on the side quest, with the caveat that if you are a VR person, it's probably a main quest for you. This is one of those examples where I'm side questing a game that has a real shot of being in my top 10 at the end of the year, just because I think the majority of people that play it will have a side quest level experience based on the hardware they have access to. So square it up. I'm not going to put it on both lists at the same time. I can only put it on one because we invented rules, and by God, we're going to stick to them. And so because of that, we're going to say Midnight Walk, solid side quest.
Awesome.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but enough about me, Rob. My guy, I know you have a game for us today.
Was I supposed to bring a game to talk about?
Just make one up, We wwon't Google it.
This wouldn't be none the wiser.
This was a hard decision. I was like, because there are a couple newer indie games that I've been playing that I really like, and I was like, maybe I'll do one of these. Kind of like I was like, well, there's these others that I've been also wanting to play. Like, let me put a few hours into this and that. Also, maybe this will be the one I want to play. After all that consideration, I decided to go to a tried and true indie classic. We're going to talk about FTL. If that's okay with you guys.
Oh,
let's go!
Nice,
yeah,
dude. Okay, Rob. I love Into the Breach, which FTL developers made Into the Breach. And FTL is maybe number one on my feels bad I haven't played it games. So I'm so
I remember
happy to
you
hear
saying,
about it.
okay, good. I remember you saying that like it's one that you really want to get around to again.
Yeah.
You love In the Breach and all that, but you just haven't played it yet. I mean, as far as indie games go, this is an absolute classic. It came out right around the time when indie games kind of started making a big splash and people started, like around the time that, Braid, Fez, I guess Dear Esther, but I don't know if that Dear Esther would count as part of the splash, but games like that, when they started coming out, this came out like shortly after those, I think. So it was kind of part of it seems weird to call it the golden age. I don't know. We might still be in the golden age, but like maybe the beginning of the golden age of indie games. It's the full title is FTL Faster Than Light. I've heard of people who back in the day thought it was like a play on the abbreviation FTW for the win, and that this was supposed to be for the loss, but no, it is supposed to be faster than light, as it says in the title. This is a spaceship, more of like a spaceship crew management roguelike. It's a top-down game where you are where, as I said, you're managing your crew and your ship's tactics during spaceship battles. And these are kind of more Star Trek naval style spaceship battles. You're not going to be, actually flying your ship. You're not going to be doing anything to, control the direction or speed or anything like that your ship is flying in. When you're fighting another ship on screen, you just see your ship on one side and then the other, like the bad guy's ship on the other side. And they just sit there and you guys shoot lasers at each other and missiles and stuff. That's what kind of combat we're talking about here. Backing up a little bit, when you start the game, you pick a ship. When you first start, you only have one ship to choose from. You pick your ship, and you are going across sectors, each sector of which is comprised of a few dozen little kind of points of interest. You enter one sector, and there's like this map of kind of like stars. I don't think every little waypoint is necessarily a star, but you kind of choose what path you want to go from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. At every little waypoint, there is a chance for you to go into combat with an enemy ship. There might be shops and that kind of stuff. But then like on the broader view, when you back out of that, when you get done with a sector, then it kind of pulls out into a larger map, a map of sectors. And once again, you're going from the left to the right side, and you're kind of choosing your path to get to the right side all across the sectors to get back to your fleet's base. the kind of the story definitely does not matter in this game, but the story is that rebels are kind of trying to overtake your Starfleet, and you are racing home to your base to tell them basically that the rebels are coming. The rebel ships are kind of on your tail this whole time. So if you kind of go too slow through a sector, and by going slow, I mean you pick points that kind of aren't progressing to the right side of the screen. If you kind of dilly-dally too far on the left side trying to just explore, then the rebel ships will catch up with you, and they are very, very strong, and basically you don't want that to happen. I'll kind of get into more detail on that in a minute. But so you're going basically from left to right on these maps. Along the way, you're fighting a lot of different ships. Sometimes you're fighting rebel ships. A lot of times you're fighting just kind of the inhabitants of this or that sector that you're in, because some of the sectors are kind of mostly populated with races of beings that aren't friendly to you, or some of them are kind of some of them may be really populated with pirates and things like that. So it's not only rebels that you're fighting against, but various other types of bad guys. Some of them are slave traders, things like that. You're occasionally encountering other things like meeting people to trade with, or sometimes you get little kind of choose your own adventure style encounters with basically kind of non-enemies, or not even enemies, but oh my gosh, we found this derelict spaceship. Do you want to check it out? Do you want to send a crew over to check it out? Or do you want to just kind of leave it alone? Little things like that. But of course, the main thing is the ship-to-ship combat. So what you do in combat is, most importantly, you're choosing which systems of the other ship you want to target with your own weapons. And you're choosing which weapons of yours you want to use to do so. So you can see all of the rooms, or typically, you can see all of the rooms on the ship that you are fighting. Some of the rooms are empty, and they're just basically passageways from one part of the ship to the next. Other rooms have things in them, such as like shield systems, weapon systems, pilot controls, things like that. That's another thing that I'll kind of get a little bit more into in a second. Typically, what you want to do is target their weapon systems, because if they can't shoot at you, then you're pretty much good to go. If you can take their weapon systems out and just kind of keep pummeling their weapons, because they can repair them, as long as you can keep those down, that's typically the safest way to get through any specific battle. You do damage to the ship itself as you do this. So, as things go in video games, once you get the other ship once you get all its HP down, it explodes and you move on. Well, you don't move on immediately. You collect scrap from the ships that you destroy, and you can use that scrap in various ways to upgrade your own ship. While you're in these battles, you are also, sometimes you're allocating power to different systems if adjustments are needed. Sometimes you don't have, and this is partly a matter of how you choose to upgrade your ship. Sometimes you may not have enough power to power everything on your ship at a time. So it's a trade-off, choosing, do I want to take power away from this or that system to, power more guns or more shields, or even power my engines a little bit more, give me some more dodging, whatever it may be. In some severe circumstances, you might even take power away from your oxygen systems, temporarily, of course, to kind of give if you need that power, if you like really, really need that power to go to something else. There are, while you're in battle, while you're doing all this, you're also telling your crew. You have a crew that basically mans various systems on the ship. And you are telling them also what to do during this, which by telling them what to do, it's a matter of, if you want them to go somewhere else and do something, you click on them, almost kind of like RTS style. Click on them, click on the guy you want, right click where you want him to go, and he'll go. And if there's something that needs to be repaired there, he'll automatically work on repairing it. The crew's kind of basic responsibility is, you'll have a guy, say you have three crew members. That means you'll probably have a guy you'll have a pilot at the pilot controls. You'll have a guy manning the guns, and probably your third guy will be manning the shields. And when you have a guy on those systems, basically it kind of gives them a little bit of a boost. So your guy on the guns will make your weapons recharge a little faster. Every time you shoot, there's like a little meter, and you wait for the meter to refill, and that's when you can shoot again. You have a guy on guns, it'll make that meter fill up a little bit faster. With shields, when your shields go down from taking a shot, he makes the shields come up a little bit faster. Your pilot actually helps you. The pilot can dodge, can occasionally dodge blasts, lasers or missiles that are shot at you. And again, this is not a thing where you're actively controlling anything at all. It's kind of RPG style dodge. Like if you roll a dodge, then it just kind of just says dodge when the laser comes at you and the laser flies past your ship instead of hitting one of the rooms on your ship. So typically you want your guys to stay there. Your guys can level up twice to get a little bit better at piloting or at, managing the shields or the weapons. And those levels are specific to whatever thing that they have been working on. The other things that your crew is good for is the second most important thing is repairing things when they get damaged or destroyed. So the enemy takes out your shields or your weapons. Obviously, you want to take care of that. Typically, again, you'll have a guy there already who will start kind of working to repair it automatically. But if if your weapons, for instance, are damaged very badly, then it might be like a minute or so before they're actually repaired. And then on top of that, you have to wait for them to charge back up to shoot again. And that's kind of an eternity in this game. So you might send one or both of your other guys to go in there and help repair it a little bit faster. Fires can break out on the ship. When a fire breaks out on a ship, you might want to send a guy to go put out the fire because, of course, fires spread if you don't. But another way to take care of fires is to basically vent them out into open space. So if there's a fire, so there's doors from one room to the next on your ship. There are also doors that just go out into space. If there is a fire on your ship, one way to take care of that is just to create a path of open doors going out to space from the fire. And over, it's not too long, maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds over time, the fire will eventually go out just, from lack of oxygen. That's typically the best way to take care of fires, but sometimes you get into these tricky situations where there's a bunch of fire in one room and that's your shield system room. And you're just like, crap, it's going to destroy my shields. I got to take care of this right now. Also, I have my guy manning shields. I don't want to deprive him of oxygen because he might die. So sometimes you do have guys manually putting out fires by themselves. Of course, that's also risky because they get damaged when they're in the room with fire. So, it's all a matter of what you think is going to be the safest, best, most expedient way to take care of this or that, whatever this or that emergency is on the ship. You're trying to kind of so to speak, put out fires on your own the whole time you're in one of these fights.
Couple things.
Yeah.
First, ever since I've known of FTL and have considered playing it and bringing it to IndieQuest, I've always been so nervous about talking about this game just based on the screenshots because there's so much going on. But can I tell you, Rob, you have done a marvelous job at explaining what's happening. Like, these games are so hard to talk about because there's just so many systems and just so much going on all at once. So very good job there. Second thing, and it's more of a question. Have you heard of the game Void Crew? It is a new...
I've played Void Crew.
Okay, yes.
It's very fun.
It is very FTL, right?
Yep.
Except for it's like multiplayer FTL. Yeah, okay, okay, cool.
Multiplayer, first person FTL, where you are a guy on the ship doing basically these exact things. Yeah, it's a really fun game.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was all. Myself and Petey and Ross played it for a while, and we had no idea what the hell we were doing. Like that. Oh yeah, right. That's part of the problem. Like, I feel like if you're an FTL head and then you go into it, it's like, okay, I get it, but we kind of bounced a little bit. It makes you talking about this makes me want to experience this game and then go back and get more out of that one. But anyway.
Oh yeah, it's really fun to see, to play that game having played FTL. The funniest thing on that game is when you have to send somebody out of the ship to go do this or that. It always turns into a complete disaster, and they're waiting for you to come back and pick them up. They're like, guys, my oxygen's getting low. I need somebody to come pick me up.
Yeah,
that's a good one. There is one more thing that your crew members are good for, and that is fighting off intruders on your ship. Some enemy ships have teleportation systems, and they will just teleport guys over to your ships to kind of like take you out from the inside. When that happens, of course, you want to fight them off. So one way you can do that, if you have upgraded your doors enough, you can essentially lock intruders in a room and then do the same thing you do with fire, open all the doors going to the nearest like outside door, and you can just suffocate them that way. But usually they'll be able to break through the door in time. But that is a good way to kind of like get their HP down a little bit before you have to fight them. Usually you're going to end up having to fight some guys on your own as well. There are a lot of different races in the game. Some of them are better fighters. Some of them are weaker fighters. As it typically goes in video games, the humans are kind of like the middle ground of all that. These are all of the things that you're having to take care of during any specific battle, any given battle with a ship. Some of the other systems on the ship, I mentioned weapons, pilot controls, shields. You've got oxygen. You have your med bay as well. That's how you heal your guys after a battle, or sometimes in the middle of a battle. If they're about to die, sometimes you just like, if they're fighting somebody, you'll have to kind of abandon the fight for a second, inside your ship, and have your guys run to the med bay and heal real quick, then go back and start fighting off the intruders again. So sometimes the AI tries to fight you in a med bay, which is the absolute best thing, because your guys are just sitting there getting healed the whole time, and they're not. And so it's, those fights are very easy to win. Then there's some more kind of like minor rooms that, again, there's the system that controls the doors that I mentioned you can upgrade and kind of make those more difficult for enemies to break through. There's a system that kind of gives you the ability to see more details on the enemy's ship. All these things you need to keep running, or at least use, the judgment to let them stay damaged if you think it's something that can be addressed after your battle with the other ship is over. Sometimes, something will get destroyed. You're like, I just need to keep my guy on guns for now. We're going to kill this ship, and then we'll fix everything afterward. As things go, ships get harder as you progress through the game, but you also are upgrading your own ship. As I mentioned, whenever you win a fight with another ship, you collect scrap. Sometimes you also get fuel and other things like missiles or drones. Missiles are kind of different from lasers in that they completely ignore shields, but you have a limited number of them. Whereas lasers, you just use them, nonstop, and there's no like ammo count for that. You can upgrade basically any part of your ship, add more layers to your shields, add more capacity to put more weapons on your ship, improve your engine so that you have better dodging ability. You can even improve your oxygen system so that it will refill the ship with oxygen faster if you happen to get low. There are shops along the way as well. That's another thing that you use scrap for. So part of the game also comes down to deciding, do I want to upgrade my ship right now, make it a little bit better, save some, maybe improve my dodging a little bit and maybe take less damage throughout the rest of this sector? Or do I want to save that so that I can buy something good when I get to a shop? The shops have stuff that is, it's randomized, but almost always you'll find at least something that can be very helpful, like a weapon that fires 3 shots, like a laser that fires 3 shots instead of just 1. That's crucial for getting through shields. Sometimes you can add whole new systems onto your ship. There's hacking systems where if you have that installed on your ship, then you can hack the enemy ships and basically just shut down one of their systems for a certain amount of time. You can get cloaking systems. You can get drone control, which allows you to launch little drones that they're basically kind of float around the most basic drone there is just a laser drone that kind of floats around the enemy ship and shoots a laser at it now and then, along with the stuff that you're shooting at it. There are a lot of different drones though. Some of them are defensive. There's even drones that will just break through an enemy's hole and then walk around fighting guys inside. Those are kind of awesome. Again, greater weapon capacity, a lot of different weapons you can get. Cloning bays, teleportation bays. I mentioned some ships will teleport guys to you. You can get a teleportation bay and send your guys over to their ship and just try to fight them off that way. If I remember correctly, if you defeat a ship by killing all of its crew instead of destroying the ship, I think you get more scrap for doing that. And in fact, once you start unlocking the ships, there are, I don't know how many, I think there are about 10 ships total that you can eventually unlock. And each of those ships has 3 different layouts that you can further unlock within those. Most of the ships have kind of different core ways that you use them to fight enemy ships. So one ship that you can get, for example, is the Mantis ship. The Mantis are a race of Mantis-like guys that are very, very good at fighting. And their ship's whole design is based on using a teleporter, sending your Mantis crew over to the other ship, and just killing everybody from the inside. Their weapons are really weak, but they are such good fighters that you can just kind of teleport them over and kill everybody, and you're good to go. That's a very fun one to use, but it makes a playthrough last a lot longer because it just takes longer to get them over there and kill guys from the inside than it does to destroy a ship. And then, okay, yeah, so shops, you can also stock up on missiles, more drone parts if you want. Fuel is a thing that you have to be aware of while you're doing this, so sometimes you need to stock up on fuel. You can also repair your hull, which obviously you want to improve your ship as much as possible, but sometimes your hull just gets so low that you're like, I got to spend some of this money on just getting my HP back up or else I'm not going to last. So those are kind of like all of the things that you are doing and managing on a run of the game. Kind of the fun thing, it's fun already, but the thing that really kind of pushes this over the edge is you'll have a run and you're kind of doing good, you're doing fine, maybe a few close calls here and there. And then you'll be fighting somebody, and then it's just like everything just goes to hell. Like it just gets hectic as anything. And you've got fires on the ship, you've got systems that are down, your shields are down, and you're like, what do I do? Like I only have so many crew members, which you can get more crew members as you progress through the game by various ways. I think the max you can have is 8, but again, you might be fighting a ship and then just like, there's so much going on at once that it's not so much a matter of not being able to keep up with it because you can freely pause the game and then give orders and unpause at any time. It's a matter of like, holy crap, what do I need to prioritize right now? I've got fires here. I got fires there. My weapons are down. My shields are down. What am I going to do? And then it's just like a typical run is you're doing fine. And then you meet one ship where just maybe almost by luck, everything just goes to hell. And then you're like, well, I went from 50% of my hull to getting killed on this one ship, and there goes my run. That
Speaking
may turn some people off.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, Rob, is difficulty curve. I've heard this game is hard, right? And maybe you're going to get into that. Like,
yep.
Even for the strategically minded video game folks out there, this, I've heard, is a tough game. And Into the Breach is also challenging. Mm-hmm. It looks like this has difficulty options, right? So you can play on easy. Is that accurate? You
can play on easy, and in fact, I think it's almost a requirement to start off on easy, because easy mode is pretty hard already. That's definitely 100%. If you have not played this game before, start on easy. If you can get a win on easy, that's actually an accomplishment. Normal is very hard, and I am still working on trying to get a win on hard mode. I have not yet. I have, I think, 200 hours in the game, and I have not gotten a win. And let's see, I think one full run, I want to say, is maybe, if you complete a run, it's probably an hour, maybe an hour and 15. I don't know. I could be wrong on this. It feels like maybe, I've never timed it. It feels like maybe an hour or so. I have not gotten a hard mode. I got so close. I played it. I went back and revisited it for this podcast, and I got so close. I got the final ship that you have to fight has 3 phases, and I got to the final phase, and I made just a stupid mistake, and he launched this one attack that destroyed me in one hit that I could have dealt with if I had done things a little bit differently. So that was kind of disheartening, but I'm still looking for a hard mode win. But yes, you are 100% correct. This game is known for being hard. And part of it is kind of learning the rhythm of, when do I need to go ahead and spend some of this scrap to upgrade my ship a little bit? When do I need to save it? One thing you should know is in every sector, there are, I believe, if I remember correctly, every sector has 2 shops. You can't see where these are until you are basically on a waypoint that's next to them, or that's adjacent to one of these shops. So you don't know where they are on the map. But what I will typically do is, first off, when you're in a sector, you want to spend as much time in that sector as you can before moving on to the next one, because you're collecting more scrap if you do that. If you just race through it, you're leaving scrap behind that you could be using to upgrade your ship. Of course, as I mentioned, the Rebel fleet is progressing a little bit more towards you every turn, every time you go from one place to the next. So you do have to be aware of that. Don't let them catch up with you, but spend as much time as you can without letting them catch up with you. Also, go to waypoints that are close to a lot of other waypoints. In other words, don't kind of stay on the edges of the map, because that gives you a better chance of discovering a shop if you need to go, if you have enough scrap to use that one. So just those are a couple little pieces of advice. But yeah, definitely start off on easy, because as I said, a win on easy mode is an accomplishment in this game. It's a hard game.
I felt the exact same way with Into the Breach, and
yeah,
I recommended that strongly. There were several people who played Into the Breach in the Discord after I had played it, and they were like, "Oh my god, this game's ridiculous." I'm like, "Did you play on normal?" And they're like, "Well, yeah." Like, okay, I'm sorry that easy says easy and that hurts people's pride. It hurt mine too when I had to turn it down, but easy is hard. Just start there. So
yeah, and it's the same thing with Into the Breach. Like, once you get a win on easy, you're like, okay, I kind of am getting the idea of what kind of things I need to really be focusing on as I play through a game. Then you play normal, and it's not that daunting, especially compared to how hard it seems when you're playing on easy for the first time. But it's just a matter of kind of learning what to focus on, kind of learning the rhythm of a playthrough. But I that might be it. So one more thing that I have to mention is the music. This game has pretty well-known music for well, I guess there are a lot of indie games that have like famous soundtracks, but this is one of them. This is the game that put Ben Prunty on the map as a video game composer, and it just has I will just, like, instead of trying to describe it, I will just say it has the perfect feel for this game. It just kind of this sort of ambient, spacey music. It's better than any other ambient, spacey music I've heard before or since. He just absolutely nailed it with this soundtrack, and it's one that I own, that I just listen to sometimes as well. It's a great. He did a fantastic job with this game. So
he's a very talented composer. I've never played this game, but I played like a very random game that basically no one else has ever played called Gravity Ghost that came out in 2015. And it turns out I was listening to the soundtrack and I was like, oh my god, the soundtrack is so good. And I looked it up and it was the game that Ben Prunty worked on after FTL. Really? And I was like, oh dang, they really got the talent for this one.
That's awesome. I don't know how I didn't know about that one, because I sort of followed his stuff for a little while after I played this game back in the day. And Color Sky is just an album he put out that's not attached to any game, but that's another great one. You can find that on Bandcamp, I think. He did the Subnautica Below Zero. That was an expansion. Below Zero was an expansion, right, for Subnautica? Is that?
I think so.
Remember this? Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure.
Whatever Sub-Zero was in relation to Subnautica,
maybe it was like
he did that.
Standalone sequel, I think, maybe standalone expansion or something like that. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe he did that. He's a great musician. Yeah, and this is the game that made people aware of him. So, what questions do you guys have?
Okay, we talked about the difficulty, which I had heard before, and this is related but different, I think. When I look at the screenshots, it's just a lot to parse. So I know it's tough, but is it also an overwhelming game to learn, or do they like scaffold the systems well enough where you feel like you get a handle on it and it's more execution.
Yeah, not
and decision making.
Keep in mind, I have 200 hours in this game, so take this with a grain of salt, perhaps. But no, in my opinion, it's really not. I mentioned all these systems and stuff, and that is true. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cool ways you can customize your ship. But when you launch the game for the first time, there is one ship available to you, and it's the most vanilla ship that they could have given you. It's got lasers and missiles and shields, and all you have to do is learn how to use those. Then maybe you get to a store and you see something cool like hacking system. Buy it and try it out. See how that kind of vibes with the way that you like to play the game. As you go through, you'll occasionally unlock new ships, and again, a lot of those ships do function very, very differently. There's one cloaking ship that doesn't even have shields, which sounds, if you play FTL, if you play this for 15 minutes and then say, okay, I'm going to take your shields away, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? How am I going to play this with no shields? But the cloaking ship works entirely differently, where instead of shields, has a cloaking system, of course. And the way the cloaking system works is that when you turn on cloaking, you stay cloaked for 5 or 10 seconds. The enemy ship's weapons cannot charge during that time. So basically, it's a matter of taking out their weapons before they can shoot you at all. So like, the ships all work very, very different ways, but they start you off with the most basic one that's going to teach you the basics of the game and kind of just get you rolling. You can sort of experiment from there. But no, like during any given moment of a battle on this game, it's really not hard to know what's going on. Typically, you have everything already powered up the way you want it to. Usually, you have enough. Usually, power, especially on this first ship again. It's not really something that you have to worry too much about until you start upgrading things, because your ship's power supply is its own thing that you have to upgrade. So sometimes you might, like, say, upgrade your shields, but you don't have enough to upgrade your power yet. So then it's just a matter of, well, do I want to take a power away from something else to give me these boost of shields, or not? And then it just kind of goes from there. It's very, you learning just to play the game and to parse the information is not really an issue.
Okay, awesome. That's good to hear, because I have avoided it for a decade because it looked scary.
No, it's really not. Just as a matter of playing it, I would say it's really not difficult just to kind of like figure out.
Awesome. Well then, is that Josh? Anything from either of you?
I know I've only played this game a couple hours because I kicked my ass so hard that I never went back to it. That's my whole impression of the game. I will say I had fun it's always fun to fail in a game like this, because it's like, well, I tried my best. We'll try this again, So it's very much one of those where it becomes a comedy of errors, like there's going to just be like, doot, 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 and there's just like some kind of crazy, wacky music in the background's going as everything's catching on fire and you're just completely losing. You'll get a lot of those moments in this, and I think that's kind of its charm, honestly. It's like, yeah, it's a little crushingly hard, but when everything kind of like just gets screwed up is when it's the most fun, from my short time playing it.
Yeah, it is one of those where it's fun to kind of be like, oh, you wouldn't believe, like, this is how this fight went down. This is how I died. Yeah, that's a good point. It is fun. The way, Ben Prunty should have added that circus music into the soundtrack for those moments. Yeah, there's FTL. As you can tell, I'm kind of a longtime fan of this game.
Yeah. My question for you is, where would you put it on the quest log, main or side quest?
I think there's no question this has got to be a main quest. And not just because I love it so much, but this is kind of like a mainstay of the indie scene when indies started to get big. I think everybody's got to play this one.
Hell yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is,
awesome.
I feel like one of those probably pretty rare instances where the game is tough to recommend to a wide audience, but it's just so good at what it does that it's obviously a main quest.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it is like, for a game like this, I've even recommended this game to our friend Scotch and Hobbies, who, as we all know, hates roguelikes very strongly. But I was like, don't really think of it like that. Just think of it as like, think of it as more of a permadeath game. I mean, yes, it is a roguelike, but it's more kind of characterized by you have to play very careful and be on your toes, because if you die, there's no coming back. Then you just start over. That's. I mean, I don't. Maybe kind of splitting hairs here. Maybe that's just what roguelike is. But to me, it just there's a little bit of a difference here between this and most roguelikes. Yes, there is randomization and stuff, but really the important thing to me comes down to it makes all of your decisions every second of the game that much more important. And yeah, I think even if you don't, even if you don't historically like roguelike games, this one is just a little bit different. I'd say give it a shot.
It's always like $1 too, like on every Steam sale. Like you can get this game for
sure.
A couple of shekels you find in your couch, like it's so cheap usually. So yeah,
good point. Yeah, main quest. Right.
Awesome. Well, I will close this out with the last pick of the day today, which is going to just be a swerve, I think, a little bit here. But there's a brand new game that came out. I wonder if you guys have heard of it or seen any trailers of it. It's called Dunkadillo.
Well,
I have not, but
Dunkadillo,
this is
spelled just how it sounds.
play.
Yeah, yep, it is something I would play for sure.
Oh my god!
When I
Dunkadillo.
When I typed in Dunkadillo into Steam, the first thing that came up was Detective Dunkadoo.
Oh, that's
Dunkadoo.
Maybe also.
I wonder if this is the sequel.
Oh, I don't think so, but it
so.
is what it is. So you play as first off, obviously, as soon as you see the game, you're gonna tell it's like 90s era inspired 2D side scroll, like 2.5D, but it has like kind of like rough polygons, looking like a PS1 game, or maybe even like a Sega Saturn era ish. It's going for that vibe and look and that feeling. The presentation is you're gonna see it's gonna be very bright, very colorful, very cartoony. You play as an armadillo, and when it rolls up into a ball, it becomes a basketball, and you automatically start bouncing like a basketball. Like you have an arc that basically auto jumps you. The goal is to get through 50 stages and beat the game. It's a very simple and straightforward explanation for the game. The presentation itself is really cool. I like the music as well. It sounds kind of in that realm of like a Sonic Adventure, just very Sega energy to all this. The soundtrack just very upbeat, very electronic, in your face.
Dunk away. Dunk away. Yo, Dunkadillo!
And there's also the cool theme song, or like little like Dunkadillo, like right when you start the game, you get right into it. It has a little theme song, little catchphrase. Really cute game. Any impressions just seeing this for the first time? Because obviously you guys haven't heard of it. So
this game looks like a Trapper Keeper.
Yes,
it does.
I don't think that Josh could have brought a game that was more dissimilar from FTL than Dunkadillo. There's absolutely no way to segue neatly into this game. So that is hilarious.
God. I also love Seth being like, I'm pretty sure we brought the same game. I'm pretty sure you and I played the same one. And Josh is like, this game, I'm not mocking at all, but this game has 8 user reviews.
Yeah, it does.
So Josh is like, are you one of the 7 guys that played this stuff? Are you also about to drop Dunkadillo facts?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh. But yeah, the game itself is fun. So it's very simple. It has it's basically a puzzle platformer. Like you said, there's an arc. Like I said, there's an arc of that you have as the ball just continually bounces. So you have to kind of get used to how high it auto jumps for you. and then there's a left and right direction, and then you can hit the A button to get like a little bit more boost at the top of your jump. And then there are things in the environment like frogs sticking their tongue out, little platforms that spin in a circle, Super Mario World style, balloons you can jump off and get an extra height or extra jump off of them, pop the balloon, get a little bit extra air, things like that. And you basically just try to make it to the other end of the level and go into a basketball hoop. And that completes the stage. Move on to the next stage. This is a very video game-ass video game. Not a lot of mechanics there besides the things I just said. But all that said is there are special collectibles that you can get, little cards, trading cards that you can collect throughout each of the stages. Each stage has a one card that's kind of hidden in an area that's very Celeste Strawberry adjacent. It's like, oh, can I get up there? Okay, cool. Let's figure it out. And then you kind of piece it out and then you get the card. And as you collect the cards, you get cosmetics for the titular Dunkadillo and can change him into a watermelon or various different colorful fun things. And the whole thing he's trying to do is save his friend who is a fish named Pickle, and he looks like a pickle, and that's the final cosmetic that you can unlock as well. And that's just a lot of fun. It's very Saturday morning cartoon, very in your face, just a very bright and fun game. This is like I'm like 40 hours into Silksong or something, so this was like a nice like palate cleanser between playing that very, I would say it's a great game, but occasionally very oppressive at times where you're just like, okay, this boss is kicking my teeth in. It was nice to jump over here and get a couple of, just bright and breezy stages of Dunkadillo in. So, any questions for me for this out of left field pick?
I actually have one. Is it more platformy or more puzzly? Like, are you vibe cruising through levels like the promise of Sonic, or are you like figuring out how to navigate through the stages?
I would say this game's pretty easy. It's pretty. You're gonna see the obstacles and you're gonna be like, I just got to execute this. And it's not gonna challenge you too much. I will say that there's boss fights after like every 10th stage is a boss fight. Those boss fights are like the easiest boss fights maybe I've ever played in a video game. Like I like this. You can pretty much just go to sleep through them. They're very easy. But the actual stages themselves have pretty unique challenges, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, I'm just going to refresh at the beginning of the stage. The stage is like 25 seconds long, a minute long, and you're going to die a few times, try over until you learn what you need to do, and you just got to execute it. And it's not going to like challenge you too much. I feel like this is a very family friendly game too. So if you have a kid, I think a kid probably could get through this game pretty easily. It's not going to challenge you very much.
Josh,
how did you find this game, man?
That's exactly what I was going to say. How the hell in the Josh Steam recommendation list did you find Dunkadillo? Like, that's insane.
I think this one was just like a blue sky, like just random GIF I saw of this cute armadillo, and that was it. I was like, I gotta see what this game's about, and I just, it took me like 2 hours to play. It's not very long. It's very simple and easy game, but it was just, like I said, it was just a nice thing to kind of like, all right, I want to kind of play some games today, but I'm not really want to think too hard, and I want to just have a good time and have some fun music blasting and see some great graphics and just have a breezy time. That's pretty much. There's games that slot and serve a purpose, and that's this purpose for this one. It's like, it's simple, it's cute, it's kind of out there. You probably never heard of it. I feel like nobody probably. It's like, and it's cheap. It's like $10, and it's probably go on sale for cheaper during sales and things. But not much to say about this one besides it's just a lot of fun for a couple hours.
Shout out to the developer whose name is Thomas K. Young. They've put out 9 games since 2021. Thomas is just out here grinding. We respect you, buddy.
He's making
Keep
us
going.
look like idiots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've released
seriously.
no games.
Yeah. Well,
I
any
love that-
questions?
I-
Go ahead.
I love that the whole premise is basic. I mean, you're not a basketball, but basically you're a basketball just trying to get in the hoop. It's like, and he looks so excited on the little art here about getting to do that. Like,
Yeah.
It is such a funny, cute premise for a game.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's like it just cheers you up to play just because it's so chill. It's silly, and out there.
The description says, finally, a game that answers the age-old question. What if a basketball was also an armadillo? We've all been asking it, so now finally
we've all wondered that at some point.
So not much else to say about this. Nice, short, breezy thing. This is a nice one to like throw on, play in an evening. Play like maybe each world in like a 30-minute chunk or something like that, and just kind of play between stuff. It's just a nice little distraction more than anything. And I think the game itself is challenging enough and fun enough to where you're going to have some enjoyment if you like puzzle platformers. But if you're like any of us here and you've played a ton of them, it's probably not going to challenge you very much. So I think this one's pretty obvious. This is a nice, solid side quest. I was on the quest log here today, but this is a very Josh side quest. I feel like I just find like a little video game that's just nice and breezy and really fun. This is the type of thing I like to play, and the little palate cleansers I like to have whenever I'm having big game meaty sessions of playing like whatever my big game is at the time. So yeah, Dunkadillo, check it out.
I mean this 100% earnestly when I say I'm glad you brought it, because sometimes I feel bad, like when we're given spotlight to like Sea of Stars and Silksong and like the big indies that everybody knows. Sometimes you feel like you're doing the Dunkadillos of the world a little dirty. All right, like you're leaving them by the wayside. But you got to let Dunkadillo hop in the back for the road trip too. He's coming along. He's out there just like the rest of us. So heck yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games where it has such a cool concept and idea. I'd love to see it like expanded on in like a sequel and like go a little bit further with it. Maybe include other sports. Why not? Yeah. Or or something like that. But definitely cool premise. I hope that developer sees that we featured them, because I don't know how big this game is. It doesn't seem very big. It doesn't seem like very many people know about it. So got to get that obscure in there once in a while.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be 4 games brought to the quest log today. We got Ooh, and that's a main quest. We got The Midnight Walk, which is kind of a complicated side quest. If you didn't hear that discussion, go back and rewind. He just talked about it not too long ago. And then we got FTL, which is obviously an indie classic and a banger and a main quest. And then we got the complete opposite, Dunkadillo, which is just a really nice, fun, cheerful side quest.
Heck yeah.
I think that's going to do it for our show today. I did want to mention something before we plug everything. We did receive a bunch of emails for Campfire Chat for the IQ OST song suggestions. I think we've got like 7 emails or something. So keep sending those in, and then we'll do a full episode that's all like community submitted audio, songs. It should be fun. All right. Before we plug stuff, actually, the first person that should plug everything that they do on the internet is Rob. Where can they find you? What do you do? I know you explained some of it at the top, but reiterate it for people who are still hanging out.
Yeah, sure. So you can find Boxography at youtube.com/@Boxography. You can find my podcast, the Classic Gaming Podcast, at classicgamingpodcast.com, or just search for it on whatever podcast thing you use. I guess that's it. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You can find our show, at IndieQuest Pod on Blue Sky. You can send us emails, like I said, the OST recommendations or any other comments if you played any of these games. If you're so excited that FTO finally got put on the quest log, whatever it is, whatever's on your mind, you can send us a text or an email, where the text is in the description box below. And the email address is indiequestpod@gmail.com. Steve, where can they find you on the internet?
I'm actually going to, before people have clicked off, forego telling people where they can find me to let people know that if you're not already aware, Saturday, September 27th, the entire Polymedia Network crew is doing a 24-hour charity stream benefiting Doctors Without Borders. So please come out to twitch.tv/Polymedia Network and watch, hang out, donate if you can. Otherwise, just show your support and with your presence and your chats and whatnot. We have a huge lineup of cool guests and features and all sorts of stuff during that 24-hour block. Last year we had a live IndieQuest. We don't this year, but all the IndieQuest boys will be showing up in some form or another. Rob, are you showing up on that?
I am not doing my own stream, but I'm on the game show.
Game show?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought so,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all four of us here will be in there in various forms and fashions. So yeah, again, that's twitch.tv/Polymedia Network. And it starts, I think, noon Eastern on the 27th and runs for 24 hours. So come check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm going to be playing Late Night Clover Pit, which is that new like indie roguelike from the Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom people. And it's like the opposite vibe of what they usually go for. It's just like a kind of a spooky horror themed slot machine, Balatro like fusion. I just think that's going to be a nice, cool late night stream. So it should be a fun time.
Oh, and that just comes out. That releases the day before.
Yeah, it's a like brand new game. I was like, it's coming out. I want to try it out anyway. So let's see how it is.
Love it.
Cool.
Seth, where can they find you though?
I'll be playing Enter the Gungeon, which is what I do, I suppose, on that. But you can find me at Captain Drachma on Blue Sky. And, of course, in the Polymedia Discord, best place on the internet. And if you want to get into that Discord, head on over to Patreon, search up Polymedia, jump into the first tier, come and chat with the three of us, plus Rob. Rob's in there, too, chatting all the time.
I'm in there chatting. I'm King Octavius. Yeah, King Octavius. If you happen to join, if you join just to find me, then I'm King Octavius. And you come say hi.
That would be hilarious. These people are like, man, I love IndieQuest, but I don't want to talk to any of those guys. But this Rob guy, I need to get in there now. Josh, where can they find you?
You can find Steve on the internet at BlinkOOM and like Midnight Walk on Twitch as well.
Oh, nice.
I went and plugged for you.
My guy.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true.
And then you can find me on Blue Sky. I don't know why you would, but hey, you can find me at Josh Leslie, and you can also find my other podcast, which is The Monthly Mishap, which should have an episode in the next couple weeks here. So check that out. All right, so that's going to do it for our show. Rob, why don't you send us out with some good parting words, make the people feel good about themselves a little bit before we close out the show today.
Thank you guys for hanging with us so far. And thanks for listening to the show. keep on playing indie games. Because they're super fun and they love you just as much as you love them.
It's true.
Heck yeah.
Dunk those Delos.
Dunk those toes.
Bye.
See ya.
So we got Craig going. I got myself going. So one of us will get it. But I think I'm good now.
Sweet. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for my 3, 2, 1, Steve. If you're ready.
Are you ready for me to count us down?
Yeah.
We do a clap.
Count along, Rob.
Yeah.
It's a 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
All vocals, no hands.
Okay. That's what she said.
3, 2, 1, go.
There we go. Nice. The all vocals, no hands got me too. That was good.
That's just good. If this was an episode of Polykill, we'd already have the name of the episode.
Seriously.
Hey.